I think the hottest thing right now, and I did discuss this last night with Dave Kitson and Chris Sutton, would be the CAS ruling on Manchester City. So what's your take on it? Because obviously Guardiola has come out to say it's a good day for football. Mourinho has had his say. Klopp has had his say. What about yourself, Martin, Keown and Jose? What do you guys make of it? Is it a fair judgment from the independent panel, or was the time-barring thing a technicality which has actually aided Manchester City? Martin?
Well, I think we first of all have to say that they've been exonerated now, Man City. That they obviously didn't break the law, the financial fair play rules. So everything that they've done and everything that there was lots of question marks. Were the Premier League then going to look at some of all the trophies that they'd won, and it was, almost financial doping? Well, none of that's happened. So I think it's a very big day for their football club. Fantastic news that they're going to be in the Champions League, because it would have cost them in excess of sort of £200 million. They can now hold on to that group. The likes of De Bruyne won't be going anywhere, because 2 years, two-year ban would have been huge. And I'm pleased for City that they've managed to clear their name. And we have to abide by that. We have to accept those rules and take it in good faith. So it's been a good day for Man City, whether it's a good day for football. Financial fair play was brought in really to sort of protect the clubs in terms of not going out of business, wealthy owners coming in and then suddenly pulling out. But in the end, was it there more to stop some of the rich clubs being affected by money coming in? So only time will tell us how much has affected the overall financial fair play rules, but it's a good day for City.
Your take, Jose? Was it a good day for football or not?
Was a good day for City. Definitely was a very good day for City. I believe it's good for football as well, because it's one of the best teams in the world. And obviously, as a fan, it doesn't matter which team you support. You want to see the best teams in the Champions League and the best teams, competing. But to be honest, I don't know how they've done it, because they've been like PSG before, like this type of team. They're spending so much money in transfers and everything like that. But at the end, it's what Martin said. Obviously, they saw the papers, they have their lawyers, they saw everything, and everything looks correct. That's why, obviously, it's been a fine, and they are okay to play the Champions League. How they've done it, obviously, is not my specialty, but I don't really know, because it's true that they've been spending a lot of money, a lot of players, big salaries as well, compared with other teams that they are doing really well as well. So I'm not sure how they've done it, but obviously they've done it correctly, because obviously that's why they've been avoiding the sanction. Yeah.
Well, there are other parts of what Guardiola was saying about the other teams, the other big teams, who don't seem to be particularly accepting of Manchester City, to be able to sit at the big boys' table, the giants of European and therefore world football. Is there any truth to that, that perhaps the likes of Real Madrid and Barcelona and Manchester United are trying to protect themselves and are not allowing City to come with them at the high table?
Well, we're in a situation at the moment, coming out of this pandemic, where perhaps we do need money coming in from very wealthy owners. And it's almost ironic, really, in this period where, we have to have rules, but we don't want people to break those rules. And we're now saying, Adam, we're not saying they've broken any rules here. They've been exonerated and they've been cleared in this case. So it's wrong to speculate. But there is a feeling, I believe, that the really big clubs don't want to be affected by another bigger club, shall we say, with very huge resources to kind of break that gang up. And I wouldn't want that, because you always want to see the underdog, the other team that can come in and win something. We had this in the English Premier League many years ago, when Blackburn, suddenly with some financial help, they went and won the league. And that dream has to be there for every club. So they need to get it right when it comes to financial fair play. And this might test it. Maybe financial fair play now disappears forever. But if they've not broken the rules, then it's going to be here to stay.
One thing I find interesting, gents, is that the letter that was actually written to the Court for Arbitration for Sport. Liverpool, Tottenham, Man United, Arsenal, Wolves, Leicester, Burnley have all written to the independent jury, and Chelsea as well. That was the interesting one, Chelsea, because if we remember, almost 20 years ago, Roman Abramovich took over at Chelsea. Roman Abramovich pumped a lot of money into the club, and this was before the days of financial fair play. They benefited from it hugely. They won back-to-back Premier League titles. It aided Jose Mourinho, who himself has come out to speak about this as well. Isn't that a bit, well, doesn't it reek of hypocrisy for you, Martin, to some level?
Just a minute, Adam. So you said that they've written to the tribunal. What, they've written to object since then to the decision?
They're not to the decision itself, but they were questioning, well, they were trying to stop City from basically playing in the Champions League while the appeal was going on. They're not too happy about it, but this was before the actual judgment was passed 2 days ago.
Well, I suppose they assumed that this correct decision had been made. But obviously this arbitration now has seen that Man City have been exonerated. So I don't even think we can enter into that. I think we have to trust that. We have to respect that and abide by those decisions. But of course, you know, Chelsea were going to profit from that, weren't they? Now we're in a situation we don't even know if they're going to make the Champions League. It looked like the first 5 places was a bit mattered in the Premier League. Now it's the top 4. And the pressure returns back again on Chelsea to try to make it by their own fair means. It seems unfortunate. I know it's ironic that they, with the financial input they had from Abramovich, that they were successful. But that's the way people are. But I'm just pleased for City now that they've come through this and we can get on with the football.
Your take on this, Jose? And in fact, I'm going to throw in another name to this conversation because he's been very vocal about this and he is in a big power position. Javier Tebas, obviously of La Liga. Now, you're in Spain right now. Why has he decided to voice his thoughts on the matter so vocally as well?
Yeah, because obviously it happens as well here as well. You can see Barcelona, for example, as well, the last few years, how much money. Yeah, I remember obviously they sell Neymar as well. And they made a lot of money from it. But like we say, at the end, that's why it's the fair play there. At the end, it has to be fair. And now what happens, that, like I said, with City, I don't really know how they've done it, but at the end, you have to see Liverpool, for example. Obviously, I'm going to put Liverpool because for me, it's the best example. They won the Premier League this year, but you compare one squad to the other, how much money costs one squad and how much money costs the other, and you maybe can talk about double. You know, Manchester City have players on the bench of £60 million. And City have Shaqiri, that is £50 million. Origi, that is... So, and they are in a market that maybe they don't spend too much this summer because obviously with the COVID and everything. So at the end, it has to be fair because if not, at the end, it's no competition. One team is going to sign the best players in the world and nothing you can do about that. So obviously, I'm a bit disappointed about that. That's why Javier Tebas is like that as well, because in Spain, it happens a bit with Real Madrid and Barcelona. I believe it's the same as well. And at the end, what you want, obviously, I understand the best teams, obviously, they're going to be there. But for example, you can compare in this case as well, City's fan base with Liverpool's fan base. So how they're going to make more money than Liverpool themselves with Manchester City, yeah. They don't have this fan base. So I don't really know how it's going on that, how they really avoid that. I'm happy, to be honest, for the Champions League because obviously City is one of the best teams in the world. But I'm not happy at the same time because there is no fair play. They can spend more money. Like Chelsea already spent 100-something million for next year in players. How they done that? I don't know. You know, and
well, because they had a cash flow that was sitting there because there was an embargo on Chelsea. They couldn't buy any players, and they'd sold a succession of players. Hazard was allowed to leave, so they had a massive kitty of money there that they could then use. But I mean, there is a ceiling though, because if you look at Man City, they didn't get Van Dijk because they had to work within a certain fair means, and they pulled out of that deal, and Liverpool took him. But Liverpool had Coutinho, the money from the sale of Coutinho, and I thought they used that money remarkably well, Liverpool, when they bought Mane and Salah in for 35 million each, 2 sort of inside forwards, really important. And Jurgen Klopp then, spent the money really wisely, isn't it? That's the important thing. Get you to spend that money well. You still don't. It's not about spending the most money. It's just spending wisely on the money that you do have. Liverpool had huge resources as well, and Man City. It just shows you money did not buy them success this season. For all the money that they had, they weren't able to compete with and get Van Dijk in. And if you see, that's the singular most important position now for Man City. They need to replace company that they never did. And if they're going to compete with Liverpool next season, they'll need to spend again in that central defensive position.
Yeah. Well, let's not forget though. Sorry.
We were talking. Sorry, Adam. It's like we were talking before. If now they sign, for example, Qualavi from Napoli, then they sign, I don't know, Messi on the left because they have the money, and like that. At the end, you say, okay, just give them the trophy, and that's all. You can, because it's no competition.
Well,
at the end, like we say, the hard thing is obviously when you have, like at the end, it's a virus that happens. Obviously, the clubs they've been affected by it. It has to show in the market that it's been affected by it. It cannot just be affected Arsenal. It just cannot be affected Liverpool. And then City is not affected by it because they have an owner with so much money and they can buy 2 players for 70 million. So then it's not fair play. That's what I believe. But like I say, at the end, they went to the law and they won. So that's the reality. I don't know how they've done it, but they won. It
was also interesting that Guardiola came out to say, we wanted Maguire, we couldn't get him. Manchester United paid more. We wanted Sanchez, couldn't get him. Manchester United had more money. Then he name-dropped Sir Alex Ferguson as spending cash to get success. Then he name-dropped Arsene Wenger for doing the same thing as well and confessed that he also needs money in order to make teams successful. So it feels like he's saying, why are you singling Manchester City out? Why are you singling us out? Because all these other successful managers have done exactly what we've done. And down the road, Manchester United have done it within the last year or two as well.
Of course, there's no doubt about that, but he's cleared his name, so he can talk like that. They have not broken the law according to this tribunal, independent tribunal. So we have to believe that and carry on. But obviously, the wealthiest clubs will always be the ones that attract the best players, and that's never going to change. And at the moment, more than any other, we have a massive. We don't have anybody in the stadiums. There's no match day revenue to speak of. So a lot of these football clubs are going to be not on their knees, but they're surviving on the TV revenues. So when it comes to the transfers, you'd expect, Jose, wouldn't you, that the prices now should come down to a respectable level, and do the wages then get adjusted also? So football has some big questions to ask itself going forward now.